Let's make some delicious coconut cream seared scallops. We're gonna start out by making the sauce. Grab a pot, throw it on low heat, and go in with some oil. Go in with 3 crushed cloves of garlic, 1 tablespoon crushed red pepper, and then we're gonna squeeze in the juice of 1 fresh lemon. After that, we're gonna go in with 1 cup chicken stock, 1 cup coconut cream, 2 tablespoons sugar, and half a cup of dissolved cornstarch. Mix until thick, and then we're gonna go in with a handful of rough chopped cilantro. Whisk it all together, then throw it to the side while we make our scallops. Get your pan super hot, go in with some oil, and then just drop your scallops in one at a time. Season with salt, and once you have this delicious crust like this, we're gonna flip them over, go in with some butter, and baste, and you're done. Now we can serve them up on that delicious coconut cream sauce, and we're gonna garnish with some lemon zest, scallions, and thinly sliced jalapeno. This is an absolute Michelin star meal. These things are literally the best scallops I've ever had in my...
Here is the Acorn Strawberry, so we're gonna remove the leaves, add 2 toothpicks, dip in milk or dark chocolate of your choice, and then we're going to shake the excess chocolate off and then set it to dry. Once that's finished drying, we're going to fill up a piping bag full of chocolate, add the lines to give it that acorn look, and then once you're finished doing that, that's going to dry up, and then we're going to remove the toothpicks, get a mini scooper, remove the top of the strawberry, only the stem part, so that way the pretzel rod can set in correctly. Dip it in orange chocolate, and then I add pumpkin spice just to give it that fall taste, and then break a mini pretzel rod and then set it inside the strawberry on top, and then fix it to your liking.
Here's a healthier, easy way to make crispy sweet potato fries, like actually crispy, without frying them and in less time than most oven recipes. Start by peeling 2 sweet potatoes, then cutting them into thick, even pieces. Mine were about 1/3 inch. Then water in a pot, bring it to a boil, add your salt and sweet potatoes, cover and boil for only 7 minutes. This will save you a ton of time from soaking it in cold water. Drain and set aside. In a bowl, 2 tablespoons of water, 1 tablespoon cornstarch, garlic powder, black pepper, and paprika. Mix well until you form a liquid, then add your sweet potatoes and carefully mix without breaking your pieces. Space them out on a non-stick pan or parchment paper. Lightly spray or brush olive oil, barely use much, into the oven at 425 for 30 to 40 minutes, flipping halfway through. Add your salt after, and there you go. Enjoy.
Easy weeknight sour orange chicken. And prep your chicken thighs. Sazon all over. Adobo. Get complete seasoning. Get it in. Massage it. Like that. Set it aside. Buy a bottle of this. 20 ounces in. Chop up a bulb. Boom. 1 small onion. Boom. Olive oil in a small pan. Garlic to the party. Salt and pepper. Get your rice going. Not cooking this, just let it sweat. Like that. Put it in the pitcher. Fresh oregano. Boom. To the party. Pepper. Mix. Ziploc. Get some chicken in there. Pour some in. Squeeze some of the air out. Make sure it's all in the marinade. Leave a little left over. Throw some onions in. Marinate 45 minutes. Place it skin side down. Now pour some of the marinade over. Like that. We're gonna bake at 350 for a half hour. Then we're gonna flip it and bake at 400. Out. Flip. Back in at 400. Half hour. Let's take a peek. Done. Rice. Chicken.
I think if you made this dish for someone, they'd probably fall in love with you. What's not to like when the 2 main ingredients are potatoes and butter? So let's make it. Start out by preheating your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you're going to get some russet potatoes and make sure to peel them. I used about 5 medium-sized ones. Cut them thin just like this. Now for the best part, we whip up our garlic Parmesan butter. Unsalted butter, Parmesan, salt, black pepper, Italian seasoning, and dried parsley. Now grab your skillet and it's time to layer. It goes butter potatoes until it's full. You get the point. In the oven it goes for about an hour until it's looking just like this. Now it's time to flip, and make sure you take a knife around the edges so that it doesn't stick when you flip it over. And our
You all have tried a red velvet cake, but what really is it? It's called a velvet cake because of its super soft texture. Since it's made with cocoa, a lot of people think red velvet just means chocolate, and that is not true. The cocoa powder gives it the texture rather than the flavor. I'm going to show you how to make the best red velvet cake and give you a few fun facts. Mix 2 2/3 cups of cake flour, a 1/4 cup of cocoa, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Cream a 1/2 cup of butter with 1 3/4 cups of sugar. Mix in 2 eggs and a 1/2 cup of canola oil. Once it's nice and creamy, add in 2 teaspoons of vanilla, a teaspoon of white vinegar, and a lot of red dye. Once it's combined, alternate by adding in all the dry ingredients and 1 1/3 cup of buttermilk until the batter is smooth. Bake at 350 for 20 minutes. Red velvet cakes nowadays are always served with cream cheese buttercream. I'm gonna make this a naked cake, and it's gonna be a really simple design. Red velvet cakes actually weren't red until World War II, when food rationing forced people to use canned beet juice in their recipes. The color was so cool that it stuck. Decorate with the crumbs and you're ready to serve. Be sure to follow.
There are many different types of mochi. This is imo mochi. It is from Hokkaido, Japan. Imo means potatoes, and this mochi is made from potatoes. This gets covered in a soy-based sauce known as tare. This is a savory and sweet sauce. After mashing your potato, add in some milk and then your choice of starch. Any starch will do. I know in the West, when we think of mochi, we think of the stuff that covers ice cream or strawberries, but there are savory mochis out there. Another way to prepare this is by putting this in a soup, kind of like a dumpling. I'm going to fry them. After your mochis are done frying, you pour your sauce in and baste it, and then this gets wrapped in nori, just like this. And this is a really popular after-school snack, but adults love this as well.
This is a 3-ingredient peanut butter cookie that you gotta make for your sugar mama. A cup of sugar, a cup of peanut butter, 1 egg, mix until a dough forms, roll into balls, and then I did a little design to make it a little more immaculate. In the oven at 350 for 6 to 8 minutes, you're done. Immaculate.
This is the copycat Panda Express cream cheese rangoon recipe, but much better. It's crunchy, creamy, savory, delicious. Mix together 1/4 cup of cream cheese, 2 thinly sliced scallions, and 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder. Mix and then place about 1/2 tablespoon in the middle of your wonton wrapper. Wet all the way around and then fold it like so. You want to take opposite corners, meet in the middle till you have this pyramid-shaped crab rangoon. Now heat up some oil, and once it's hot, place in your crab rangoon. I don't like to use a lot of oil, so I place it down like this and then flip it once it's golden brown. You can add more oil and regular fry them, but this works for me. Once it's brown on all sides, place on a paper towel and sprinkle with a little salt. This recipe makes around 10, and I would double it if there's anyone else trying them because I eat all of these by myself. Save this recipe for later. It's better than Panda Express and it's much less expensive. Follow me for more
15-minute dinner for 15 days. 2 packs of udon up to medium hot. We're gonna melt 2 tablespoons of butter, 1.5 tablespoons of flour, mix together, 1/2 cup of cream or milk. Also add in 1/2 cup of dashi stock. Simmer for 2 to 3 minutes. We're gonna add in 2 to 3 tablespoons of Japanese mayo, 3 tablespoons of masago. Add your udon in the sauce. I highly recommend it. We're gonna poach in it. Add in your creamy udon, mix together. Add on your creamy masago udon. Add on the poached egg, and some seaweed, some green onion. Now look.
Today we're gonna make some easy baked mozzarella chicken. I didn't even think this was gonna taste good, but it was actually delicious. You wanna start off with some chicken breast. We're gonna season it with some olive oil, oregano, basil, salt and pepper, and some garlic powder. I also added in some paprika because I thought it could use just a little bit more color and flavor in there. I don't usually measure the seasonings because it really just depends on how you like your chicken. I'm gonna add in some sliced onion, about 2 cups worth of half cherry tomatoes. And for the sauce, you want to combine 1/4 cup of balsamic vinegar, a tablespoon of brown sugar, and about 2 to 3 cloves of minced garlic. Pour it over the chicken, and we're going to pop it in the oven for about 25 to 30 minutes at 430 degrees Fahrenheit. And then just before you put it back in, we're going to add in some shredded mozzarella cheese. I know the pre-shredded ones suck, but if you get the real mozzarella, definitely get that. Broil it in the oven for about 5 minutes until the cheese is melted. Try it out. It's delicious.
Here is a very simple holiday recipe you can follow that's fun to make. It is cinnamon dough ornaments. It makes your house smell so good. You just need 1 cup of cinnamon, 2/3 of a cup of applesauce, 2 full tablespoons of school glue, and make sure you mix that in really good so the glue is evenly distributed throughout your dough. Form a ball, and you're gonna spread out cinnamon onto a flat, clear surface, just like you would flour. Put your dough on and roll it out with a rolling pin. Use more cinnamon, just like flour if it's sticking, and I like to press it down to fill the cracks. You can cut it out, you can make it into shapes, and you just let it.
Okay guys, I'm gonna start prepping my turkey, and if you're anything like me, your fridge is tiny, so you do not have space for a traditional brine. So I'm gonna do a dry brine, which is much easier and takes up less space. Step 1 is get your turkey. I should call her. Alright, I'm single. In this bowl I have thyme, sage, rosemary, lemon zest, black pepper, and I rubbed it underneath the skin of the bird. And in this bowl I just have kosher salt, and I'm gonna rub that underneath the skin as well. Put most of the salt underneath the skin and put the rest of it on top of your bird. It's not that much salt, it's just half a teaspoon per pound of turkey. So what's gonna happen is the salt is gonna pull out the moisture from the turkey through the power of osmosis. And then the turkey is gonna reabsorb that liquid with the salt and season it. So I'm gonna leave this in the fridge lightly covered for at least 1 day up to 3 days. And what else is gonna happen is the skin is going to dry out, and dry skin means very crispy skin. So I will see.
According to this video, you can make a corn dog that is stuffed inside of a pickle. It sounds absolutely insane to me, looks crazy. But of course, I got a large jar of pickles over here, and I have some hot dogs over here. So let's give it a try. Pour out the inside of this pickle. It is time to place the hot dog into the pickle. I'm gonna have my batter over here. I'm now going to dip it into here. So I'm just going to cook it on each side until golden brown.
So I took my leftover roasted butternut squash and I mashed it with a fork until I had about a cup's worth. You could use it from a can too if you don't have that. And then I added 1.5 cups of oat flour and I mixed it with a fork and then with my hands until a nice dough formed. Then I cut the dough into 4 equal parts and I rolled it out into that snake or rope shape, I don't know what you call it. And I cut them into little gnocchi, rolled it on the back of my fork, boiled them in salted water until they popped to the top, took about 3 minutes. And then I put mine in a creamy, spicy tomato sauce, but you could put it in any sauce you'd like.
You guys, I saw this recipe on TikTok and it's become one of my favorite recipes for a nice lunch when I'm not in the mood for just a cold sandwich. Take 1 can of chicken, like the tuna can type of chicken, 1/4 tablespoon of breadcrumbs. I chop up half an onion, that's by preference, you don't have to. Mix it all together as if you were mixing up meatballs. And when you have it at a consistency where you can actually roll them into balls, something like this, you roll them into balls, and then you're going to flatten them just a little bit. And you're gonna place them in a hot pan with a little bit of olive oil, and you're gonna saute them for 3 minutes on each side. That's a long take. Okay, there we go. So there they are. They're already cooked, remember, so there's nothing raw here. So you're just really heating them. And that's what it looks like. And let me tell you,
This banana bread recipe that's by Betty Crocker is over 50 years old and it is basic in the best way possible. I mean, just look at that texture. Start with bananas that are nice and browned. If they don't look like this, don't use them. Peel 3 to 4 bananas and mash them until mostly smooth, then mix in 1/3 cup of water to loosen things up. Then in a large bowl, cream together 1/3 cup of softened butter with 1 cup of white sugar until well combined. Next, add in a splash of vanilla and 2 eggs and mix until it's nice and creamy. Then add in the banana mixture and mix again. Then add in 1 2/3 cup of all-purpose flour, a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and mix until mostly combined before mixing in a 1/2 cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips. Pour it into a buttered, then floured loaf tin, then top it with a halved banana and a sprinkle of raw sugar, and bake it at 350 for 55 minutes.
Let's cook some spicy chili oil garlic noodles. Add in some chili flakes, some sugar, chicken bouillon, garlic, some ginger, and add in 4 to 5 tablespoons of hot oil and cook those ingredients through. Now let's cook our 1 serving of wheat noodles. Once that's cooked, go ahead and add it into the chili oil mixture. Add in 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, a splash of vinegar, some cilantro, give it a nice mix, serve it up, and enjoy.
Parmesan crusted chicken breast. Now the recipe that I'm posting is for 4 pieces of chicken. Just keep that in mind, even though I'm only making 2. I did not invent this recipe, but I'm telling you, this is so easy and delicious, it was worth a video. Pat your chicken dry, season both sides with salt and pepper, spray a casserole dish, and then do not use grated Parmesan, use shredded Parmesan, it's so much better. And then add the ingredients for your topping together, put it on top of your chicken, and bake at 350 until the internal temperature of your chicken reaches 165 degrees, and you will have the most delicious chicken. It's so good. I love it. So don't forget to hit that follow button for more keto, low-carb recipes.
Okay, hot take. If you don't like cauliflower, it's because you've been eating it wrong, and we're gonna fix that. And we're also gonna put a liquid gold on top because we can. So when you're roasting cauliflower, this is literally not the time to just use salt and pepper. My suggestion, use a ton of spices found in the Middle Eastern, North African, Indian region of the world, and we're gonna use turmeric and cumin. The two flavors go hand in hand, and we love to see the vibrant hue. Use some salt and fresh pepper always because pre-ground is actual trash. If you hate cauliflower, it's probably because it's been soggy, so we're gonna fix that by using a preheated oven and roasting it at 425 for 30 to 40 minutes. My philosophy is if you hate vegetables, put a sauce on top, so we're gonna make a hot honey tahini sauce that is actual liquid gold. I swear I almost ate it with a spoon, just try not to. Great cauliflower is always nice and charred and crispy, and then you're gonna drizzle about half of the sauce on top, put some cilantro,
Thanksgiving's next week, so let's work on some sides. Starting with some Pillsbury biscuit, about a half a cup of shredded Parmesan Romano and parsley, mix it together. Now take your Pillsbury biscuits, roll them into a ball and dip them into some melted butter and then into your cheese and parsley mixture, making sure they're nicely coated. And then it goes into a muffin tin and on the big green egg at 375 degrees for about 15 to 20 minutes until they're looking just like that. And check out the top and that bottom crust, cheesy deliciousness. My favorite